When I was in school, I was told by one of my teachers that I'm a butterfly. Why? Because I never knew what I wanted to become, and I wanted to do everything, and I wanted to be everyone. Fly from place to place. But the world tells you that you need to choose, and be comfortable with that. It's like your own servant. Acts as you please, does as you wish. But it's a trick. It's an illusion, because it becomes predictable. A cycle that repeats itself. What-ifs turn into post-its as reminders surround you, and you choose to ignore them, but they are there, or they'll come back. Because deep down, we all know that only we can make a change if we want to make the change in our lives.
Hi guys, my name is Lottie, this is the Self-Help Tapes. Welcome back to my channel. So, last week I've uploaded a video which was an introduction about the Self-Help Tapes, and I'm sure you can see that there's a difference between my hair and the location. So that video was shot in the pandemic about 2 to 3 years ago when I was working on this channel. I was in a very different mental state. I wasn't really well. I think that was the perfect time to use that video though, because it wouldn't have been the best time to launch this channel when that video was recorded. And now I'm in a much better place. I feel more peaceful and I am so much better than I was then. I really wanted to put that video into the first one because I wanted to illustrate the difference and also use a credible situation, a moment where I was really trying to find my words, when I wasn't comfortable in front of the camera, where I really was just trying to look for what this channel will be about. And now it's different. I didn't want to record those thoughts now. I really just wanted to go into the topics and who I am after that video. This video will be in 3 parts. I will cover 3 topics: dream jobs, rejections, and comfort zone. Also, I hope you can see me well. I know there's a shadow on half of my face. I'm really sorry about that. It's just how my window is positioned. So, why did I start this channel? Believe it or not, I had been toying with the idea of a health and wellbeing channel for probably close to 10 years. I had started working on it properly over the pandemic. What had prompted me to start it is a very emotional, intense story, life story, which I'm not going to go into completely just yet. But in a nutshell, I was diagnosed with epilepsy when I was 21. I've been struggling with a neurological condition for close to 10 years. And when you have epilepsy, it affects a part of your brain that is responsible for fight and flight. This part of your brain is called the amygdala. It's here, around here. That is constantly under trigger, basically, when you have epilepsy, when you have a seizure condition. So that can easily cause panic attacks, phobias, and a lot of anxiety. I'm sure a lot of people have anxiety, have heard of anxiety. If you haven't heard of anxiety, it's not great, but I'm sure you have. So after I was diagnosed with epilepsy, my life pretty much had completely changed. Okay, so I went from someone who is actually quite a relaxed, fun and cool, chilled out person to someone who now was having a neurological condition, panic attacks, full-on anxiety 24/7, and had no idea what was happening to her mind, body and everything. Long story short, epilepsy happened, and that had snowballed into panic attacks, phobias, anxiety, a lot of worrying about just unnecessary things, poor sleep, self-esteem issues. It was quite horrible. Then I was also diagnosed with depression. Obviously, the pandemic didn't help. I know quite a few people who weren't anxious people before the pandemic and then became anxious or depressed. But you know, when you add these things up, a neurological condition that you've been struggling with since, you know, your early 20s, plus depression, anxiety, phobias, it really burns you out. So for close to 10 years, I would say I've been struggling with, you know, these physical issues, all these symptoms, heavy anxiety, depressive episodes, and I have had so much help on the way, and I'm very, very grateful for that, especially my family. And you have to develop a system, you have to develop a completely new perspective and persona, in a sense, because you have to relearn so many things about you, about the world, about other people. And I'm very thankful because I have had so much support on the way throughout this journey. And I think I got to the point where I was like, this is enough. And I've tried so many things to help myself. Some of them worked, some of them didn't. I need to put this out there and help other people and share how self-help works, especially from someone who's been having physical and mental health conditions for close to 10 years. Then last year I was diagnosed with ADHD. But ADHD is a different game, it's a different category. It's being neurodivergent, and I think it's a superpower. I actually love it, it really helps me in many ways, and it makes perfect sense now, in hindsight, looking at the things that didn't make sense then, now make sense, you know? So I'm quite grateful for that. I will talk about these things. I can, if you're interested, talk about these things in more detail later on in a different video. Now, I feel like I have finally found my path, if you will, you can say that. I feel so much better. I feel at peace with myself. And even though some of these conditions are still with me and I'm being treated for them, I feel like I'm at the right place and I have healed in many ways and I'm not struggling as much anymore. Just super grateful to all the people, to all the self-help methods I had discovered, to all the tools and tasks and habits that have helped me to now feel this way. And this is why I wanted to start this channel, because I would love to share all my experiences throughout this journey with all these conditions, with mental struggles, with the well-being, how I have managed to cope over the course of these 10 years. And not just that, and moreover, sharing how I started my acting journey, despite struggling with these things, and how I have built things up from ground zero and arrived to this point. I feel confident, I feel excited, I love doing this, I'm not getting paid for it, and I absolutely love it, and I hope I can help people. We're here on earth to connect, to communicate, to socialize, to share these experiences, and if I can help just one person, it will be worth it. So I'm really excited to also talk about this industry that I work in, which is crazy, which is so intense, which is so magical, which is so difficult at times, and it really just ties in with health and well-being so much. Everyone's journey is so unique and it's so different, and I find it very interesting. So, dreams. We all have a dream and a dream job, right? Well, at least most people do. But it's difficult. It's difficult because society has this framework, sells this framework, especially to kids, teenagers, that we all have to have it figured out when we're by the time we are 18, we need to go to university to be able to qualify for jobs, we need to have a CV, we need to go through this A to Z framework, this journey to be someone, and we have to choose one path, and it's so scary. Anywho, this is how the butterfly, aka also known as I, was born, because I always wanted to do everything. Since I was a kid, I knew that when I grow up, I will want to be an artist, some kind of an artist. It doesn't matter. Maybe a painter, maybe a florist, maybe someone who makes films, maybe somebody who is a professional dancer. I've tried so many things, but that became such a trap, and it sounds very cool. However, it was so oppressive, it was so heavy and difficult on my shoulders as a kid that when I got to my last year in school, when I was 18, and when it was time to choose what subjects I want to finalize it and what university courses I want to look at, I literally panicked so much that I opted for a course that was interesting but had nothing to do with my passions initially. Had I known what I know now, I might not have gone to university. Maybe, but if I was 18 now, I might consider not going, because you don't have to. You don't have to do this framework. You can break out from this realm, from this fantasy that it has to happen that way. There are so many roads, but it is so scary, and so many people end up doing a safe job. They end up doing something that's comfortable, but has nothing to do with their passions or dreams. And they feel miserable, they feel anxious, they feel worthless, they feel like they're not achieving anything. But also, what if we don't have to achieve anything? What if we just have to exist in this world? Often they feel as though they're powerless and depressed from what they're doing, and it's easy to feel as though you're not achieving your higher purpose, because it does feel like deep down, that there is something we all need to achieve. But what if what we need to achieve really is to connect, to be there for each other, to be kind with each other and other creatures, to create something that adds value to the world and to other people's lives? Anywho, fun fact, I got into a very good art school when I was 18 in England, and it's because I specialized in art, textiles, so like sewing things, painting things. I built a freaking tree, insert image. So at 18, I was basically accepted into an art school, then a psychology and media course, because you can do a half-half course in England. And then I was also accepted into a business course. And then I was like, wow, at least I have options. And I felt so overwhelmed. I panicked. I was like, I don't want to do this alone. I'm very young. What am I going to do? What if I don't want to do this? And what exactly happened was this whole panicking about what is the right path? Do I have to have it all figured out now? What if I'm choosing wrong? What if this isn't the road? What if I fail miserably? How am I going to make money? Boom, 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 all these questions in my head. I didn't really have a desire to go to university. It was so much peer pressure. And then I also applied to a business course in a different country. I had to quit the orientation day and the whole art school decision. Then I was like, I went to the orientation for the business marketing course. I was like, hell no, this is so bad, not for me. And then I did end up going to studying psychology and media, which was actually very interesting. And long story short, back to the dreams. Even when I was doing psychology, I had no clue what I was doing, but I was interested, at least I was interested in the mind. But do I want to be a therapist? No. Do I want to work in medicine? Maybe. So I specialized in neuropsychology. But at the same time, I was also studying media, and I was like, but do I really like? I do like films So let's take on script writing. And I started script writing, screenwriting, for films and TV. I was like, well, what did I enjoy when I was young? Oh, I enjoyed acting. But it's not safe. But what if I fail? And all these questions came, and all these questions we still face as adults. So basically, I went from all these things, from art to psychology, to media, to writing, to working behind the camera, to working in cafes for a day or two, to being rejected from so many jobs, to writing countless of CVs, to doing all these things, to then find myself in the position where I was like, you know what, I want to do acting. Well, there was something wrong with me, but no, I'm a butterfly, and it's okay if you're a butterfly too. I had wished to be that person for so long. I have cried so much about not knowing what I want to do in my life. I have asked so many people, how do you know, how will you know? You're so lucky you have it all figured out, that you know these people that know from like age 3 they want to be musicians or doctors or lawyers. But some of them are peer pressured into it by family, and I'm very grateful that I wasn't. Now I know it's a superpower. Being a butterfly is good, it's okay. And I still do so many things on the side to support myself. But I do know what my dream job is, and I have figured out that the corporate system is not for me, and I don't want to work for other people's dreams. But rejection is a weird thing, it's a difficult thing. Most of the time it's not personal, but it's so easy to take it personally, isn't it? It can take a toll on our mental health big time, whether that is rejection from somebody else, from a partner, from a friend, from family, from a job, from an interview. We go through it all the time, and some people cope with it better, and some people can't cope with it or cope with it worse. I used to cope with it very badly, but acting has taught me so much, because I get rejected, if not on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, from people, from jobs. And I have had to learn to not take it personally, and it made me grow a very thick skin, it made me very resilient. And when I started acting 3 years ago professionally, I was in shatters, in tears, in absolute shambles after countless of rejections, because I thought there's something wrong with me. But then I had to be honest with myself and say, yes, but you chose this industry. You can't suffer but also want it. You need to learn from it, or go and do something else if you really can't do it. So I had to take stock and think about what I really want, and I knew that I wanted it. And I had to figure out a formula that will help me to cope with the rejections. But I will talk about this in a different video, because it affects so many areas, from self-esteem to socializing with other people to the way you talk to yourself. So I think that's a video for another day. But for me, rejections mean a lot, because I become stronger from them. It's like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It might sound cheesy, but it's so true, because you can take good life lessons from rejections, because most of the time they aren't meant for you. It just means that they are meant for someone else, and then something else is waiting for you around the corner. And you can just look at it from a positive perspective. There's nothing wrong with you, but it took me a good year and a bit to realize that it's normal and it's part of the game that I'm playing. Stretch! The third topic, comfort zone, because comfort zone is an interesting thing. It's nice, it's warm, it's a nice place to be for a while, until it gets monotonous, boring and painful. Some people love it and live for it, and you know what? That's why it's beautiful, that we're all different. But coming out of your comfort zone, as painful and uncomfortable as it can be, it's one of the most exciting and amazing things that can happen. And whether that is in your personal life, whether that is, exercising and starting a new challenge, whether that is in work, Whether that is in trying something that is scary, like a new hobby or something, it's so amazing because it sets you free. You know, this channel, it used to scare me so much, just launching it, talking to a camera, despite being in the film industry, you know, talking to a camera, you start getting in your own way, yet you want to do something that scares you or something that you really want, but you fall back into your comfort zone. This, for me, is out of my comfort zone. Gosh, it's so hard. Even though it might seem really smooth and easy, took years of practice, years of hard work, mentally and physically, but mainly mentally. I guess what I'm trying to say, and I will do another more in-depth video on this, is comfort zone and getting out of our comfort zone is a good thing, but it takes time, it can take time. So if you are in a place where you are in a comfort zone or your comfort zone, but you want to get out of it, take your time. The best books aren't written in a day. The best art isn't done, painted and created in a day. And somebody once told me that you don't need to rush, despite hearing it from other people. Try to close out the noise and do what works for you. And yes, it can be very uncomfortable and painful, and you can be your own worst enemy in your head, but you just have to think, you know, we have all this life, this time, this thing we call time. If we have a great idea, if we have something that we want to share, if we really want something, if we want to try something, challenge ourselves, it might take time, so be patient. And like me, I have worked years and years and years on myself and on this project, because I knew that one day it will be born. I knew that one day it will happen when I'm ready. And I used to say, oh, I'm just procrastinating, this is never gonna happen, but it now happened. So I guess you just have to trust your gut, trust yourself. Trust yourself, trust your gut, and be patient. Because whatever comfort zone you're in, you will be able to get out of it. But you do have to, for instance, write down where you're at now. I think that really helps me actually, but everybody's different. Where you're at now, what you would like to achieve and where you would want to be, what you'd like to change, what's stopping you from changing that. Literally the easiest thing sometimes is to write things down, and then you go from there. And you can figure things out from there. But I know it's difficult, it can be very risky, and these types of risks are not for everyone. But if you're just not happy with where you are, or if you want to get out of your comfort zone but you can't, just be nice to yourself, start planning, and at the end of the day, nobody cared as much as you do. And that's good. Because I thought that people care so much about what you want to change, what you want to do, where you want to be. You care, and that's what matters. They will care for 5 minutes and then they will move on. And that's an amazing idea and philosophy to live by. It helps me so much, so I hope it helps you too. I have realized that the more I put things off that I want to do, the more I stay in my comfort zone, the more anxious, depressed, hopeless, and miserable I feel. And I would love to help people who are experiencing things that I'm talking about, that I used to experience, who are stuck, who are in a comfort zone in some shape or form that they want to push, stretch, get out of, and then go back. I'm not saying you have to leave it, it's just nice to leave it. It can solve so many of your anxieties and worries when you leave it, and it's a great self-help tool. I hope my forehead's fine in this, and I'm so sorry it's dark, but the sun's going down, so I'll be quick. You're in control, remember, you're the driver, not the passenger. You're the one who can change things in your life ultimately. Also, it's okay to be a butterfly. You can do many things, you can do more than one thing. Don't panic, I do like 5 things next to my acting because I need to support myself. And life is so beautiful and amazing, and it has to offer so many different things. Why not explore it? It's absolutely fine if you're one of those people that wants to do more than one thing. If you get rejected from something, that sucks, but try to stand up from it. Try to learn from it, dust yourself off, and look at it from a positive perspective. Obviously, take your time. I'm not saying you need to be like, I don't care, I'm happy about being rejected. It's normal to feel sad, but something else is waiting for you around the corner. There is a reason why that rejection happened, and by dragging yourself and making yourself feel awful from a rejection, you're not going to help yourself. And you have to help yourself. And finally, realize whose dream it is you're working for. Is it your dream or is it someone else's? Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm very grateful. If you liked it and if you've learned something from it, please give it a like, little thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel. I'm so excited to be finally making these videos. I'll be back with another one next week. Take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and most importantly, be kind to yourself. Good things are coming. Until next time, see you soon.
But I think the most important thing is to start small, let things happen, tap into fear, tiptoe in the cold water, and bit by bit you submerge as you gain confidence. It's okay to go against the system and not have it all figured out, and to follow your dreams and not always the safe choice. It's okay to be a butterfly.